All right, you might as well get started. Good morning, everyone. This is Dave Dubois. This is the New Mexico Drought Monitoring Work Group. This is the May 2016 call. And so we're going to go ahead and go around the call as we usually do and go ahead and announce your name and so we know who's on the call. This is Dave Dubois in Las Cruces.
Holly Reed, Albuquerque Journal.
Raymond Baker of your Reclamation, Albuquerque.
Yeah, great stories here from West Gulf ROC.
This is Dick Silver, CFA Milwaukee's Soil and Water Conservation District.
Elizabeth Reitzel, Congresswoman Michelle Lujan Grisham's office.
This is Ryan Ward from NMDA.
Chris Romero, NRCS Snow Survey.
Dave Simmerall.
Chuck Jones here. Go ahead.
Dave Simmerall, Western Regional Climate Center and Drought Monitor author.
Jason Griswack, National Weather Service, El Paso.
Jeff Phillips, we have two folks from Los Ranchos.
All right.
And I'm Chuck Jones here at the Weather Service office.
All right.
Sorry, who was that?
Yeah, I was just saying if there's anybody else.
Yeah, well, we got five of us here, so.
Oh, wonderful.
Very team group.
Not me.
Sounds like Sean is in the room too? Well,
Sean is in the room. Carrie, Molly, and the one and only Brian Geyer.
all right, welcome everyone. So we got the go-to meeting up. Looks like everything's working. So might as well go ahead and get started with the National Weather Service Weather and Climate Outlook. I think Chuck.
All right, yep, be me. Thanks, Dave. As usual, we'll start with the current, we'll work backwards, and then we'll go forward. First 3 weeks or so of May, not too bad. Total precip up here in the upper left, bottom right, percent of normal precipitation, and it's easy to look at this and say, wow, it's been really wet in the west, but keep in mind it's May, and normal is not necessarily all that high, so it doesn't take a heck of a lot to get 300 or 400% above normal this time of the year with the monthly averages dropping like they are. But nevertheless, we'll take whatever we can get, and it's been decent across the western half. Not so much in the eastern half, but overall, I think the state's probably a little bit above normal. Recent warmth and snowmelt. Yeah, this is a gauge at Rio Grande and Embudo. It's been around for quite a while. You can see the really warm March that we had with the runoff here. And we're probably thinking, oh boy, here we go again. But it's back in line now with near normal. Brian, you were saying, though, something about it peaked at 2,000 CFS?
Yeah, there's some missing data on the USGS page right now, but right there in the middle, there was a peak around 2,000 CFS on May 18th. So it looks like that has been the peak for the gauge.
So somewhere way up here, actually.
Yeah, it's the oldest river gauge in the entire USGS system.
That's right. Not only New Mexico, but
the entire country.
About last month, better than we had done. We reversed the trend of January being below normal, February well below normal, and March being pathetically below normal. We actually ended up with a little bit above normal across the state. North, central, northeast did pretty well. Parts of the Rio Grande Valley and a little bit west of there. Some southern areas, especially far south and the southeast, did not fare as well. About 129% of normal, we'll take that. 29th wettest on record out of about 124 or 5 years. almost an inch precipitation and ended up close to a quarter of an inch above normal. 2016, the calendar year, January through April, 32nd driest. So we have been below normal, close to an inch below normal. Statewide average, 1.84 inches. You can see that here on the map. Pretty dry overall for the first 4 months of the year. And our old legacy station precip maps here, we're having some issues with them, so we'll see a lot of little circles here for now. But the point being, the first 4 months of the year is only 67% of normal, whereas if we throw in the October, November, and December 3 months, statewide average is 126% of normal. That 3 months, October through December of 2015, we were close to 200% of normal. So El Nino looked great at the start of the year, not so much as we go into 2016. Speaking of the water year, 27th wettest, over an inch above normal. So, we take the whole water year into consideration, now 7 months in, it's actually not all that bad. If we go back a little bit farther and go back to May of last year and get a full 12 months, we're the 11th wettest, over 3.5 inches above normal. So that's very nice as well. Not too bad either for a 24-month period, going back to April of 2014, 13th wettest, over 5 inches above normal. That works out to 119% of normal for the state. Not quite so good, but still above normal for the 36-month period, 21st wettest, 111% of normal. And it's not until we get to 4 and 5 years that we start to see that drier trend return that we saw a year or two ago, where we were looking at record 4 and 5 year precipitation deficits that rivaled the 1950s and early 1900s. So we were below normal for the past 4 months, and the last 5 months, 31st driest, well below normal. Our NASA sport images, looking here at some deep soil moisture. This is from 0 to 200 centimeters. We can see the 3 areas, at least according to my eyes, where we saw some improvement over the last month across parts of the Rio Grande and the northwest, northeast, and southeast. And if we just look at the top 10 centimeters volumetric soil moisture, this was last month, April 25th, this year on May 20th, noticeably better. And we saw that trend, even last month we started to see the improvement from March to April, and that's continued into May. Regionally, drought status, same story. Out west, still pretty bad in California and part of western Nevada. 50%, exactly 50%, or about 50% of this entire southwest U.S. has some drought status from D1 to D4. And just zooming in on New Mexico, fairly close to what we've been seeing the last couple of weeks. Moderate drought around 40% of the state, and normally dry 44%, and none around 17%. And yes, I know that adds up to 101%, but they were close to those values, close to. I just went ahead and used that. If anyone's sharp enough to quickly add those up. Southwest, again, being where we're seeing the moderate drought, and surrounded by quite a bit of abnormally dry area. Northeast being the area with nothing. 3-month change, it's gotten drier, big increase in the abnormally dry and the development of this moderate drought. Again, covering 40% of the state. So enough of what's happening and what has happened. If we start to look into the future, not yet though, last 4 weeks, these are really anomalies. These aren't temperatures, but we've seen a big drop in surface temperatures along the central and eastern Pacific, while there's actually been an increase in the western Pacific. And this is from, just grabbed this from Victor a little while ago, an hour ago. So it's hot off the press here, actually, although I think it came out yesterday. The Nino 3.4 region, it dropped from 0.6 to 0.2 just in the last week. And that's a huge drop for just 1 week for this 3.4 region. And that's the lowest value we've seen since August 13th of 2014, almost 2 years. Model and computer guidance, or the model guidance and the CPC forecasters in the upper left, both obviously leaning toward La Nina developing late spring, early summer. La Nina probable, it's quite likely this fall and winter, and it looks like it, a lot of people's mind, it looks like a done deal already. So we do have a La Nina watch in effect. El Nino advisory remains in effect, perhaps soon going away. So the CPC official outlook for June, precipitation showing no clear signal, equal chances pretty much of above, below, or near normal precipitation, maybe a slight trend toward above normal in the far northeast. And temperature-wise, we're looking at trending toward above normal for the southwest 2/3, and no strong signal either way. It may be up in the northeast. Let's go to 3 months, and this is the summer outlook, June through August. Again, equal chances above normal or below normal, and above normal to our north, but unfortunately not over New Mexico. It doesn't get better after this. This is the temperature outlook. Big part of the country above normal temperatures, only no strong signal right smack in the middle of the country. Autumn and winter outlook. September through November, December through February, this looks like La Nina pattern, especially the winter. Tendency is trending toward below normal precipitation for the fall and the winter. And the seasonal outlook, though, I think this is supposed to be through August 31st. The drought that we do have in the southwest will likely be removed. And of course, that's based on summer monsoon precipitation. This area gets their best precip, and so that would make sense. We might hang on just to a little bit of moderate drought right along the border and in the far southwest in the Bujio of New Mexico. I'll skip these for now and come back to them. Oops. Do I have that? Okay. Do we want to talk about changes now or wait until the end? Or
maybe discuss some initial thoughts. Well, we've got, I was looking at not only the percent, but also the SPI in some of the early areas. The only areas I could potentially see any changes are up in the north central. So like maybe Cibola, sort of eastern Cibola. We've got.
In terms of making that abnormally dry, or
no, I maybe look slightly improvement.
Improve, okay.
I think, and potentially in Socorro. Socorro County. I'm just looking at the maps right now. That's why I'm a little slow in responding.
I was wondering a little bit about Climate Division 7. If we
kind of some worsening.
It was pretty dry, very dry in the last 30 days.
Yeah, 57% of normal.
And that's a normally wet period.
Right.
May is usually wet.
And 80% for the last 60 days. 66% in the last 90 days. So I was wondering if we might need to expand at least the abnormally dry eastward a little bit. If you go to 180, it's not too bad, but
yeah, I'm looking at the SPI from the Westwide Drought Tracker, and it's sort of in that right in the middle, 0. It starts to, Lee County seems to be 0 through 6 months, and even wet because it brings in some of that fall. I don't know. It's if we can justify going out past bringing in D0 or not.
Mm-hmm.
The 1 month has been pretty good. Let's see. Although your May maps show very dry.
Mm-hmm.
The AHAPs May through 1 through 22.
I looked at Roswell's precip since January 1st, so close to 5 months here worth. 82%. It's below normal, but not terrible. We're only talking 0.4 of an inch or so.
Yeah. Well, maybe that the Climate Division 7 is bringing in some of the dryness from the northern part of the Climate Division rather than the the southernmost. Because that CD7 goes up to Guadalupe County.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should pay attention to it. I don't know if we need to make any changes to that or not this month.
I didn't have any strong feelings. I just trying to find something to...
Yeah, the only areas I could think of is, looking at the 4 or 5 month SPI further the west side, but bordering Arizona seems still pretty dry over there. But what we had 1 month, it seems pretty good. Some good precipitation over along I-40. Gallup?
Mm-hmm.
North of there. Yeah, some of the raws around Mount Taylor had 3 inches.
Yeah.
The last.
That's why I'm thinking about maybe a little bit of improvement over in southeast McKinley and eastern Cibola. What about Albuquerque?
It's been dry.
It's been dry.
That last event, we pretty much completely missed. Most places had less than 1/10 of an inch, so that's where we stand for the month. So whatever we didn't have going back to April, it's been very dry.
Yeah.
And I was just up in Durango on leave, and the whole way back from about Nagizi, Escrito, Trading Post, kind of there, just to the west of the divide, it's really green. All the way down to about San Isidro, and then it's really dry. The desert looks pretty brown once you get down towards Albuquerque again. Yeah, it's dry. But this is also the right time of year.
Yeah. See, all of that is still in. Well, I guess the Nagizi is. That's a little bit. Is that in Climate Division 1 or 2?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and the soil moisture maps I think represented it really well because there's kind of a bullseye up there in the northwest where it's pretty dry.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell the vegetation doesn't look nearly as healthy. But as soon as you start climbing up onto the west slope of the divide, it looks really nice. It's almost summery like. Yeah, there's that patch there in the middle of San Juan County. But then you come up through 550 into Sandoval County, it just looks great. Lots of really deep green colors. And then once you get back towards about San Isidro, it's that other patch is also really well represented.
So what are your thoughts on the Rio Reba? I know that the sport list is showing wetter.
It's pretty green up there.
What about Dave? Is what is Colorado? I mean, I think they've had quite a bit of precip on the bordering, just north of Rio Reba and San Juan, right?
But that system
Next
this
one.
week and then the next one looks wet.
For there.
Good, Colorado. Good for you guys.
Well, it looks great on them. I don't want to steal Chris's thunder.
Snow back.
So, all the mountains are.
All the little flowers.
Yeah.
And I was like,
So Dave Cimarral, are you still on the call?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. What are your thoughts? I mean, we're talking about this area up in the far northwest, the Four Corners area. We have sort of a broad swipe of D0 across the Rio Reba, bordering Colorado and San Juan, but it seems like there may be some erosion of that, the D0, in the higher elevations, maybe. But then still dry as you go toward as you go south.
Yeah, I haven't taken a close look at that area. I was just looking at McKinley County, and I'm looking at the SPI, the High Plains SPI, and I'm not looking at the interpolated one. I'm looking at the dot map. But in the western portion of McKinley, positive values at 30, 60, 90 days, 120, and then at 6 months it's kind of near normal. So I could see maybe some improvements in western McKinley, but I could take a look at. So you're saying deterioration in Rio
improvement?
Reba?
Oh,
improvement. Okay.
Yeah, because we have D0 there now.
Yeah, SPI, those same, there's some dryness in the northern portion of it at 90 days.
Yeah, out toward the northwest part of Rio Reba.
Yeah, but the 30 and 60 day values are slightly positive. I don't know. I mean, nothing's really standing out there as crying improvement, but it's possible. I mean, it's D0, so I mean, we're looking at short term on it. So if we want to look at the 30 to 60 day, yeah, we could trim that back to the west. Almost to the border of the county.
Yeah. Well, I'm just looking at, right around that, there's an area, I think Carrie or Brian mentioned, right around the divide area. I guess that would be eastern McKinley, western Sandoval.
Area too.
But then dry as you get toward toward Bernalillo. Did I read you guys wrong, or is that, I don't know, it's a little more detail than we have here, but in the drought monitor.
That area, 30 days, it's sitting close to normal, and at 60 days, it's a kind of a mix in those areas. It's slightly above normal.
But overall, it's below normal. I mean, if you take out the 1 month, seems like it. So maybe we can just keep as it is.
Yeah.
We just wait and see what how much the next few weeks, and then keep an eye on.
I don't know how good our coverage is in that area, but 30-day AHAPS percentage of normal precip is, Sandoval, it's all above normal. There's some below normal in southern portions of Santa Fe County, and a little bit north of there too as well.
Yeah, it looks pretty dry in southern Santa Fe County, bordering the Torrance.
You're up by Tsuke? Or Nambe? Nambe, yeah.
I mean, I would think maybe just kind of hold steady in that area, but I could see that, I don't know, what do you guys think about McKinley County, maybe a little bit of improvement there?
Yeah.
I think so. It erode a bit of the D1. I don't know if we can keep D1.
Thinking of maybe pulling that back down to the south, that D1 line.
Yeah, because I could probably keep D1 in that little southern southwestern part of McKinley. That seems to be dry, like Gallup area.
Okay.
So I think we've been getting dust in that area on 491 up the road that goes from Gallup to Shiprock.
So are you saying improvements to the east of Gallup in the mountains over there? Along
north and east.
Northeast?
North and east?
What do you guys think? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
How about south central San Juan County?
South central.
Don't have any stations there. So.
I know, and the radar isn't that good there.
Do have chocolate over there.
Let me pull on NLDAS on the weekly. In the weekly, it's looking really wet. That whole western portion of San Juan County, San Juan County, extending down into north central, almost down to Crown Point, is showing really moist on NLDAS.
In the short term, right?
Yeah, the weekly.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we can justify yanking the D1, push it west, but still keeping it over in the little Boot Hill there part of McKinley. What do you think?
I don't know about Cindy. It's probably pretty wet underneath the terrain there is.
Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable to me.
Okay. Well, we'll keep monitoring the rest of the area. We won't. I don't see any justification for moving anything else. I think what do you think? So who's on from El Paso? Is it Jason? Is it you on?
Yes.
From your perspective, I don't know. We have D1 in the southern in your warning area, through Luna, Hidalgo, Grant, and a bit of Otero.
Yeah, we haven't had much in the way of significant rainfall across our area. We've had the potential, but it just hasn't panned out. So I don't think really any changes or anything are too necessary. Not sure.
Yeah, the longer term seems to be weighing on that southern part of the state. I know there's been some good precip in the recently.
Even that was sort of more of our eastern areas, like Las Cruces got hit good, and then it went up further towards like Alamogordo and into the Sacks. They've had some off and on events, but like El Paso's missed out, and I think most of going out to the Boot Heel and most of Grand County missed out on that last event where our eastern areas got some decent rains, but that was the first one in a while.
Yeah, we were like, I don't know, I think I tweeted out something, 40%, and then we went up to over 100% over since Friday. But it's been really dry down here, and I think you're right. The Boot Hill's been it's been missing out. I think we'll keep things as they are down in the south, unless I hear anything.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So I think that's good for now, Dave. With some tweaking.
Okay, thank you.
So if we want to move on to the agenda, I didn't know, I think, Susan, are you on? Susan Rich?
Yeah.
Okay. So do we have any updates on the state forestry?
Oh, okay, not me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Just noticed that I was up high on the agenda.
Oh, no problem. I brought you up. I think it was from last month. We brought you in earlier on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. I can do it now.
Okay.
All right. So we have had more fires this year than last year. 205 wildfires on state and private lands, which is what New Mexico State Forestry is in charge of. Those are called statistical fires. And we've had 205 fires this year as compared to the same time last year, 137 statistical fires. And that's affected 52,137 acres of state and private land this year as compared to 8,492 last year at this time. All jurisdictions, so that includes federal land and other lands, municipal lands that we're not in charge of. 378 wildfires have been reported on all jurisdictions, affecting 67,374 acres total so far this year. There are a number of fires on federal lands in particular that are being managed for multiple resource objectives. So doing things like improving wildlife habitat, reducing hazardous fuels, returning fire to the ecosystem. We can manage fires for objectives other than full suppression when we're allowed by weather conditions and fire behavior and the amount of resources we have available. So that's, you hear a lot of acres affected, but a lot of them are actually being treated by fire when the conditions allow us to. We had 2 of our returning hero crews that were sent out of state last month. They're back now. They went and helped Tennessee. And we've also helped on the Coyote Fire in the Guadalupe Mountains, which briefly crossed the state lines. As far as the wildland fire outlook, compared to the early start of season, the past few weeks have been pretty quiet. The cool weather and the intermittent wet weather has been helping us. That's probably not going to stay the case for June as temperatures rise and especially as we get waves of fine fuels that grow and dry out and get combined with hotter and windier conditions. As far as our long-term significant fire potential and fire outlooks are published around the first of the month, so every time we have our call, I usually have old news as far as the outlooks go, so I can give you that kind of short-term and a general long-term look out. Last thing I wanted to just let folks who are in the Albuquerque area know that there's a program going to be put on by the East Mountain Interagency Fire Protection Association this Thursday, the 26th, from 5:30 to 6:30 at the Tijeras Public Library, and they're going to be talking about the fire weather update and outlook, fire season update and outlook, and defensible space, what it is and what it should look like. So if somebody has a burning desire to learn about those things, that's a good place to go do it. And I'll send you a written report that you can share around shortly, okay? That's it.
Well, thanks, Susan. Can you remind me again, what day was that Tijeras meeting?
This Thursday, the 26th, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Do you have a flyer that you could forward that or something?
I got an email notice.
Email?
It doesn't. Yeah, I'll send that to you too.
Okay, great.
I'll forward it to you.
So any questions for Susan?
Hey, Susan, this is Ollie Reed with the Albuquerque Journal.
Hi, Ollie.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
I was just checking on your statistics compared this year to last year. You said that with, on state and private lands, 205 wildfires compared to how many? Is that right, 205? Is that what you said?
137 last year.
To 137, and that's right. Through the same through what period are we talking about?
That's January 1st through May 23rd. Yesterday.
Okay, thank you.
And did you get the acres?
If you give me those again, I'd be happy to hear them again. Make sure I got them right.
Okay, this year is 52,137.
52,137.
And last year was 8,492.
8,492. And that's just on the state and public land, right?
State and private.
Okay, right.
Yeah, that's what we're in charge of.
Right. Thanks. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So are there any active, what's at right at the moment, is there any active wildfires?
The one that right off the top of my head, there's one down near Magdalena on federal lands, on the Magdalena Ranger District, and they're managing that for resource benefit. I can look that up and send it to you, or I can turn around while the next person's talking too, and see if I can see what else is burning and let you know after the next report.
Okay.
Okay?
Hey, thanks.
Sure.
All right, any last questions before we move on? Okay, all right, so let's move on to agenda item with the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation with Raymond Abeta.
Okay. Can you hear me okay, Dave?
Yes. Loud and clear.
Okay. I'll start on the Rio Grande on Potoro, 14,572. Aaron, 100,955. Novato, 126,616 acre feet. Abiquiu, 134,957. Coach T, 50,891. Alphen Butte, 294,440. And Caballo, 77,276. storages for the Pecos. Santa Rosa, 102,368. Sumner, 30,649. And Brantley, 30,410. So on the Rio Grande, we're in the process of doing a spike release for the silvery minnow for the breeding. The temperature seemed right and the timing's right, so got a nice, good flow going through the whole Albuquerque Reach. We're looking for about 3,000 through that area. And Budo's holding up nice. La Puente's holding up really well. We got some water in Novato for this, so we'll sustain these flows for close to about 2 weeks coming out of Novato. And we'll just see what the main stem continues to add to that. Colorado seems to be sending a little bit of water down. So that's all working well. So that'll be some nice water going into Elephant Butte. Hopefully we'll bring that storage up. But both districts below Elephant Butte will be, or all districts will be on, including Mexico, on the 30th. So their releases will be going up a bit, starting on the 30th. On the Pecos, we've already made one block release to make some room in Santa Rosa and Sumner. Of course, now the Pecos is moving along pretty well, so that's good. That's been influenced in Santa Rosa. So as you can see, that's already over 100,000 acre feet again. But we'll take it. That's great. Let it keep coming. But when the last saw, the snow towel's about almost gone, so hopefully the south and the north side, the north slopes, and the shade will keep feeding this for a little while. But otherwise, flow are continuous on the Pecos and healthy. So we're real pleased so far. But otherwise, the rivers look good in both basins. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Raymond. Any questions?
Hey, Raymond, Ollie Reed at the Journal. I just wanted to check some of those capacities you were given. What did you have for herring?
Yes, sir. Herring is 100,955.
100,955?
Yes, sir.
And then Vado was?
126,616.
616, okay.
Yep.
And Elephant Butte?
Let me scroll down here. 294,440.
440, okay.
Yes, sir.
And Caballo's the only other one I have a question about.
77,276.
276. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Uh-huh. Okay, thank you.
All right. Moving on to the NRCS. I think Chris Romero, you on?
Hey, Chuck, I'm here. I just sent you some PDFs. I don't know if you're able to open those up, or I can try and share my screen if you want. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, it's been kind of hectic.
Oh, I understand. All right, very good.
That's perfect. Yeah, thank you. So I don't have a whole lot. You know, we don't issue a June forecast, so my snow season, the water year is pretty much over for New Mexico. There's still some pockets hanging on up in the north, up in the Sangres and the Chama River Basin. As far as Colorado, we're doing pretty well. I mean, well above average for May. As you can see, that San Juan, the Animas at 138%, and then the headwaters of the Rio Grande's at 140%. So that's positive. If you go to the next slide, or the next, we'll see if it's the right one here. Yeah, our month-to-date precip, which you were talking about at the beginning. We had a pretty wet month, which helped us in our drought condition. But over in the west in the Gila, and then over past Grants, they were getting like 200%, 100% of normal precip, and then up in the north where it's still cold enough, to hold some snow, we got a nice dusting in the middle of the month. But pretty much up by Taos, the Powderhorn up there on the resort's one of the few places that's holding on to any remaining snow. They're at about 40 inches or so. And then you got to go further north up into Colorado before you see much else. You can go to one of the other ones there, Chuck. Yeah, so this is New Mexico. Pretty much everything south of I-40 has been melted out for months now. Up in the San Juan Chama area, you're looking at, about 73% of normal, and that's as of May 24th. And remember, this is based on the snowtail sites that are out there, not anything else is contributing to these percentages. And then the Sangres that are 143%, which is good for both the Pecos and the Rio Grande. So that's good for May. When I looked at our forecasts, when they came out on the 1st, we were anywhere between 80% up in the northern end of the Rio Grande to about 30% of normal down at San Marcial down south. So the numbers might have come up a little bit, closer to an average year, because we were just below it at that point, and that was at the beginning of May. So last one, Chuck. Yeah, and here's your water year to date precip percent of normal. So not too bad. You got some 85s and 77s down in the southwest corner of the state, in the Gila, Mimbres, the Rio Hondo. The snow's been gone for quite some time up by Ruidoso and Sierra Blanca, but they've gotten a good deal of precip. Up in the Jemez, I was just up past Cuba. You were talking about that pocket up there, and it was wet, like really wet last week when I was out in that area, and it looked nice. It almost looked like I was in the Pacific Northwest, kind of in that rain shadow that they get out there in San Pedro parks. But the Rio Chama is at 88, and then the Sangres and Santa Fe area 107, 102. So the numbers look decent for at least precip for the end of May as we go into summer. But that's pretty much all my slides. There's not a whole lot at this point. I'm pretty much on a maintenance schedule now, repairing everything and getting ready for the next season. But I'll be glad to entertain any questions if anybody has some.
So, Chris, what was the Santa Fe snowtail? What was that? What is there still snow up there?
As far as snow up at Santa Fe?
Yeah, up at the snowtail, because that's our highest one, right?
Yeah.
Is it mostly melted out, or still some?
Here, I can pull it up on my end here. I'll look at you want to see Santa Fe?
Yeah, I'm just curious about the upper elevation.
I was at Elk Cabin, which is much lower in the watershed, and it was obviously bare ground. But here, I'll take a look at the actual snow up, and then there's Wesner as well, which is
Santa Fe that red?
Of that. 24 inches at Santa Fe. I don't know what that. Oh, you're looking at that red one there?
Is that the red triangle there, or is that because Wesner is the one to the southeast of that one, right?
That's precip.
Or west? Oh, is that precip? Okay.
Yeah, that's precip. But Santa Fe's still got about 24 inches up close to the top, up by the ski basin. Is that what you were wondering about?
Yeah, I'm mainly asking because of the high elevation temperatures. I'm just curious about how things are. I know lower things are melting out quickly, but I'm just curious about 11,000 plus, how things are holding on south.
We're supposed to go up to Taos next week to do maintenance on our site on the ski resort, and typically there can't be snow there when we do it, and there's still about 45 inches up at the Powderhorn. So the temps are staying low enough in the northern mountains and it's hanging on to snow on the north aspects. But yeah, you're right. I mean, anything below 9,000 feet or so is been gone for quite some time.
Right.
Yeah, we might have to shift our schedule around a little bit if it keeps hanging on to the snow up there, which is good, but yeah, it's kind of throwing us for a loop.
Well, that's good. A good sign for the high elevation.
Yeah, it's getting into it's not maintaining below freezing all day, but at night it's still well into those temps that we could get snow if the precip came back. Any other questions? Everybody's speechless. That's two meetings in a row that I have slides.
Oh, wonderful! We really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I was just looking at the Prism first 22 days in May. That's what I was asking about, because they're showing, if I can interpolate the map right, it was like a average temperature in the upper 30s, low 40s.
Yeah.
If you do the deviation, it's still, most all the state is below normal this month. So that's why I was asking, just to verify that.
Yeah, up at Santa Fe, I mean, last week it was in the 30s, and now it's average temperature, at least at my snowtail site, is in the mid-40s.
Cool.
So it's going to start melting off. At night it's dropping down to 35, 38.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's great. Getting into June pretty soon.
Yep.
All right. Thanks again, Chris.
No problem.
Hey, this is Susan, and I'm going to have to drop off. I have another call coming up, but I have a little bit of fire info if you want it.
Sure. Go for it.
Okay. It's quick. Right now, the active fires are the North Fire, the one I was talking about down near Magdalena. That was, it's big, it's 55 acres, and in ponderosa pine, mixed conifer, grass and brush, and it's being managed. It was started by lightning on the 21st. The Coyote Fire down near the Guadalupe Peak is a lightning-caused fire, and it's active. It's 12,718 acres at this point. And they do have some closures in the park, mainly due to smoke. There's a Sisters Fire, which is northeast of Pinos Altos. It's 15 acres and holding. And the Spur Fire, which is a lightning-caused fire northeast of Luna, about 27 acres, and that's a confined and contained. And then due to the wind mainly, plus the upcoming busy weekend, there are a couple of prescribed fires that are being postponed, one on the Santa Fe and one on the Lincoln National Forest. And I'm sorry I have to drop off right now, though. Get going for my other call.
Right. Thanks, Susan.
Okay.
Yeah, appreciate that update.
Hello. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. See.
All right.
I'll just your email for when next month.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Moving on to the USGS. Is Anne Marie on the call? Doesn't sound like it. I think I had a...
Yeah, she said, I think she said she wasn't going to be able to make it.
Right. Okay, I remember from last month. Okay, good. So we can get her, we connect with her later and get the StreamFlow update. Just email that around. And so that brings us to state engineer, either Molly or who else is on? for the state engineer's office?
Just Molly. There's nobody else came down.
All right.
I'll just let Chuck can go through the slides. They're the same as we usually have. The numbers look pretty close to what I think that Raymond reported, so hopefully we're in the same ballpark. We did add on each slide, we added a little legend tab because we thought maybe that would help, so we'll see how that goes over. And I will start off with apologizing for not putting any of last month's presentations on the Drought Task Force website because I do not have a person who does that anymore, and I dropped the ball. I will take care of it now. So we can just go through the slides. Navajo. Yeah, it shows up, the little legend shows up, okay? So it's a little bit above what it was last month. Ute looks pretty close to the same. Sorry. Santa Rosa pretty close to the same, but still way above average.
We were out there 2 weeks ago, and it's the highest I've ever seen it.
Oh, really?
And I've been going to Santa Rosa for 10 years.
Yeah.
It was way up.
Yeah. Yeah. The Pecos is doing really well, right?
Yeah.
Sumner has dropped, but I guess that's probably releases like Raymond was talking about.
Yeah, that was a block release.
I think there's grants. Just pretty, not very much different from last month.
The last year.
Yeah. But that last year they had all that extra water that then they had to move, right?
Yes, that was a flood storage from the previous year for big rains. And Texas wasn't able to hold it.
I'm sorry, what?
The big September rains that they had
right.
out there for 2 years in a row.
Right. So then back on the Rio Grande, pretty far below average for herons. Alvado's not that far, and it's a lot higher than last month. So that's good. Abiqui's about the same, but still below average. Elephant View, that's just pathetic, right? Way below average.
31% normal.
We just need some snow.
A little late
for 5 years in a row.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. And Caballo again. Above last year. So yes, I will put these, make sure these get on the Drought Task Force website. Unless anybody has any questions, that's everything I have.
All right, any questions for Molly? Guess not. Okay, thanks again, Molly. Thanks for putting the legend on there. That looks great.
Okay.
I always forget which line is which, even though we've been doing this for several years.
I know.
Short-term memory loss, I guess. Okay, we'll move on to NMDA. I think, Ryan, are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm still here. How's it going?
Pretty well.
Basically, we don't have a lot to add except that the recent hail event has damaged a lot of the crops here in the southern part of the state. The chili condition went from 66% positive to about 57% positive, so pretty big hit. Similar condition with the onions. The apples, pecans, cabbage, chili, and cotton are also reporting a drop in condition. But on the good side, there's the whole state seems to be a little bit cooler than normal, so there's that for us. Nothing much more to add, really, just a lot of the things you guys have been talking about.
All right.
Where was all this hail?
What's that?
Where was all the hail?
On the southern part of the state. It hit northwestern Doñana County pretty hard. It destroyed a lot of the crops.
Yeah, it pretty much went through most all of Las Cruces as well. I know it went through Leesburg, up along, like Ryan said, the northwest part.
Right.
It
wasn't big enough to damage property, really. It was more like pea-sized, I think. It looked like snow from what I saw.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we've got a few hail pads from folks here in Cruces. But yeah, up to 5/8, and one guy had some 7/8, so a little bigger, quarter size.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that big. Yeah, well, thanks, guys.
Well, very good. Thanks. Any questions for Ryan? All right. I think Anthony, are you on? Anthony Chavez? Guess not. All right, we'll see if I can connect with Anthony about any updates to disaster areas or any other news on that area. So we're any last other comments on impacts or any other news before we get into